Welcome back to Rainforest Revelations with Dylan.
And Victoria. We're back.
And today is another long day.
Day 8. We wake up in San Geraldo, and this is like the second day that we just stay at location.
So basically...
So this was the first day, or one of the first days where we actually stayed at location and didn't go anywhere to do our hikes or activities for the day. So that was unique. That was kind of nice because getting in the bus and like driving, all the traveling's kind of tiring. So it was nice to just like stay there and chill. So we woke up and Dr. Jones and Miss Campbell told us that we had to come up with a testable question and a hypothesis for an experiment using resources in the forest.
Yeah, and they told us this. They kind of like brought it up the night before and told us to start thinking about it, and I tried, but I was kind of stuck. Like, I did not know what I was going to talk about. But I figured it out right before breakfast, and
we'll talk about our experiments later. We're going to keep it
we're going to keep it a little
hush
right now.
Right.
We all figured out a pretty good experiment to test, and we brought it to Dr. Jones and Miss Campbell. Y'all talked us through it.
Yeah.
And gave us
advice
and helped us make it a better experiment.
Right.
And then basically, like, right after that, you could go out and start researching.
Yeah, you could go out and start researching, like, whenever. You just had to check out. And there were a lot of trails to choose from. I think there were, like, six or 7.
They were hard to find. I didn't really know where to start, but...
Yeah, we just went on the trail that we went on the night walk. We went on the same trail that we went on the night walk.
Okay, so
we had from breakfast until lunch to research.
We kind of all stuck together. I guess we all went out at the same time. We kind of branched off.
Yeah.
But we all went together at the same time.
Yeah,
we went to the stream that we went to where we found the glass frogs that were mating. Because we had different things to find and different things to look for.
Different data for our experiments.
To collect.
Yeah.
So we were all looking around for our data. We'll explain more about the data when we talk about the presentations tonight.
Yeah, but our group got done pretty quickly because we had like a buddy system, so no one was on the trail alone.
From the people who left in the morning, like all of us, like me, Victoria, Maddox, Jackson, Nora, I feel like we saw Evie. That was really it. A lot of people left later. Or went on a different trail. So when we were walking farther, this was like close to the end of our data collecting. We were walking farther into the woods, and we saw Cecropia trees.
Oh, yeah. And we knew how to recognize
them. And we
too.
recognized them because of...
We knew how to recognize them, too.
Zildjian, who is...
Actually,
the
world expert in Cecropia trees.
That's actually his thing.
So we're going to let Zildjian talk about some trees.
Okay, today tonight, we are back with Zildjian, and it is our last night. Very sad, I'm going to be partying, and we're going to ask him about his organism, the Cecropia tree. So, give us a little background on your organism.
My organism is a genus, actually. It's not just one tree, it's multiple different kinds of tree. It's the Cecropia tree, of which there are 61 types in the world. 4 of which are in Costa Rica, one of which, and there's another one endemic to the Cocos Islands. Cecropia trees are really cool, I say. I do. They have some very interesting features. They have very distinctive rings around them from where their leaves fall off, which is a really interesting defense mechanism of sorts, because they drop their lower leaves as they grow so that things like vines can't climb up them. And also the little holes where their leaves drop from, where the leaves used to be, that's where ants enter, and the ants also help protect them. That's really fun. Even though
you know what kind of relationship that's called?
The trees that do that are called myrmecophytes. Cecropia trees are really distinctive. You'll know whenever you see one, even if you're not actually looking up to see one. Whenever you're just walking and you see like probably brown leaves. Sometimes you'll see white ones just on the ground with like a long stem out of them. It's kind of like a hand, like the leaves look like fingers, like long fingers, kind of.
This is actually true because after your thing, I kept seeing Cecropia trees. After I noticed them, like I couldn't stop. Yeah.
We saw them the entire trip, but once you like actually know what you're looking for,
It's everywhere. Yeah.
and I love that. Cause when I chose Cecropia trees, I didn't really care at all. I just knew I got a tree. But when I learned about them, I was like, oh wow, these are actually quite interesting. They're hollow, which is, not the normal tree thing. Normally trees, they have their insides, but the Cecropia trees are hollow, less dense. They're generally softer, so that they're.
Yeah, he was knocking on the trees. While
Oh yeah.
It was, I wanted to do that since I first found out about that. I just wanted to walk up to one and knock on it, find out if it actually felt hollow. It does. It's great.
One more question. How did you feel about the independent projects we did at the Hype where you presented your tree?
That was an experience.
Yes.
I did enjoy speaking about my tree. That part but I always like teaching people new things. It's one of my favorite things to do. The whole experience, not as great, but hey, it doesn't always have to be a hit, it's okay.
You did great, Zildjian. I remember.
Thank you.
You did
Your
amazing.
presentation was very good.
Yes.
My presentation was clearly enthused and directionless.
Was your 15 minutes alone fun?
I pat down some dirt and sat on that, and then I drew. That was what I drew myself.
That's what I did
on the dirt. That was actually really funny, and there were a lot less bugs than I thought there were.
Yeah, I didn't really get
I agree.
That was great.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Zildjian.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having me.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Zildjian, for
Thank
that
you,
amazing
Zildjian.
interview.
You are so smart. After we had time to collect data, we ate lunch, and it was really good because the food
good.
at San Geraldo was really good.
We say that everywhere though.
The
We just sound
food
like
was
big
just
backs,
always
but
good.
the food was good everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't remember
there
having
were
a
a
bad
lot of good places.
dinner, lunch, breakfast. No.
After lunch and after you were done collecting data, you had time until 4 p.m. to analyze our data and finish out, finalizing our experiments. We had to create a conclusion. We had to be ready to present by 4. At least one graph. We had to make a conclusion.
Mm-hmm. We had to do the hypothesis.
Yeah.
Independent variable.
Dependent
variable. Like what you would change about your experiment and how it went. Like, was your hypothesis correct?
Right.
Just had to present in front of everyone. You could do it in groups if you wanted, but a lot of people did it by themselves. I did it by myself. I think there were 2 groups, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty.
It was really fun.
But it took a while. I had to actually think about how to make this make sense,
Mm-hmm.
So I drew a graph on the board. After everyone was ready, we all met in the living room space, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we all sat down, and Miss Campbell, that was a great idea to pull names out of a hat.
Randomly.
Everyone's went pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We might have some pictures from us presenting. Now we are going to give you a little background of our personal experiences, experiments.
Right. So Dylan, you could go first.
I'm going to try to keep it a little short. I don't want to go on forever because there's a lot. But I'm going to read my question. So the question I was first testing was, how do flowers closer to water adapt for their pollinators? And my independent variable was the distance of the flowers I found from the water, and I would measure the distance 10 meters each time. So I would start at the pond, look for flowers, and then go back 10 meters, look for more flowers, and keep doing that over and over again. And then my dependent variable was the shape or type of flower I found each time I stopped. My hypothesis, before I went out to collect data, was that if there are flowers closer to the water, then the shape will attract smaller insects like bees and butterflies instead of birds. And Dr. Jones really, he was trying to get me to explain how I thought that, but I kind of just guessed. Like, I don't really know. My research in the forest did not support my hypothesis. This was not true at all. Like, I thought it was a lot harder finding flowers. Like, I couldn't really find flowers that easily. I drew a new conclusion, but I figured out that I'm not supposed to do that because just because you, like, think it's true doesn't mean it is. So I drew a new conclusion, and
It was like just because something changes doesn't mean it's related.
So my new conclusion is that an area is not covered by too many trees. Smaller flowers with open shapes for bees and insects will be more common. This is the graph of my first hypothesis, so the regular one, not the conclusion I just said. So that was my experiment.
So my experiment, my question was this: does the distance from a water source affect how much moss is present on trees? My hypothesis was if the trees are closer to water, then there will be more moss, or they will have more moss. I collected data by having a range of 50 meters, and I would analyze 2 trees at every 10-meter point. And I made a scoring chart to put the trees that I found in categories of how much moss was covering. I found that my hypothesis was not correct. I think the source of water made an impact on where the moss grew, but not how much moss was growing. But yeah, I really liked collecting the data for my experiment because it was early in the morning. It was really quiet. That's like a little summer.
Then after that, we had dinner.
Last note night.
This is really sad.
We are back.
Undercover Dylan Dick.
Thank you for the last note night. During note night, we got a little popcorn, which was fun. We had a pretty chill night after that. I think we ended notes pretty late anyway, so we only had like an hour of free time, but we still got to play ping pong, and they had hot chocolate. We played ping pong a few rounds, and then I think we just hung out. Since it was our last night there, I think we just hung out in the hammocks for a few minutes.
You know what we forgot?
What?
The most gorgeous, beautiful sunset.
Oh, yes.
That was before dinner. Wow, we forgot
before
to tell
dinner, we
you
saw
that.
a beautiful. So our view from San
Sorry,
Geraldo.
oh my God.
Our view from San Geraldo was Arenal Volcano and Lake, I think.
Let's insert some flicks. And Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
So,
It was really gorgeous. But anyway, that was earlier. After dinner, we had a lot of time to hang out, and then a little time to hang out, and then we just sat in the hammocks and appreciated our last night at San Geraldo and mentally prepared ourselves for the morning we would have the next day.
it's going to be a long day. And we had to pack our bags. Not much to pack because we just brought a book bag. But we packed our bags and got ready to hike in the morning.
Yeah.
And
we had to be ready by 8.
You'll hear about it
tomorrow.
Or you know what I mean.
In the next step.
Well,
guess we'll see you on the flip.
Good night. Peace out.